Good evening. I'm your host, Shameika Rhymes. Welcome to Soulibration. Let me know in the chat where you are watching from and how you're doing this evening. I swear this week feels like today should be Friday, but it's not. It's Wednesday, which means it's Soulibration time. So remember to share this with your network. And if you have any questions at all tonight, drop it in the chat because you all are the co-hosts. I see Gastonia and Asheville already showing up in the chat. Hello, y'all. Well, let's have a real convo tonight about how to stay connected, keep intimacy fun, and continue growing in relationship no matter how many years go by. My favorite, and I know if they're your favorite too, internet. I call them my internet auntie and uncle. But Rita and Theo Smith, they are here to share how they stay intentional, how they handle life's ups and downs, keep communication open, and they still find ways to laugh, have fun, and keep the spark alive after decades together. Now, y'all remember when they were here, I think it was a couple months ago, and it was the healthy relationships panel. Y'all know they were sharing some spicy things for us then. So I'm excited to dig deeper into this because after all, I had to circle back on him. So again, let me introduce you to Rita and Theo Smith. They've been married for 44 years and they went viral after sharing their relationship journey on TikTok and Instagram. And so they talk about everything from spontaneous date nights to daily connection. And I want to know what's going on in that truck out in the backyard, but we'll get to that too. They share how they continue to build intimacy and keep things fun after being together for, like I said, being married 44 years. So let's bring them on. Hey, Auntie and Uncle.
Hey.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. How are y'all?
We good.
Fine.
Thank you for having us.
I
We
was
good.
so excited when you guys agreed to come back because y'all kept that panel so fun. I was like, oh, we got to do a whole episode.
Okay.
so so you guys have been together, like I mentioned, 44 or been married 44 years. How long have you actually been together?
Married 44 years because we was dating. So we've been together 44 blessed years in marriage.
Okay. Did you date
hmm
for a long time before that?
We were dating. I was 14 and a half and he was 17. He came a week before my birthday.
Look
A
at that
week
present.
before my birthday. He had just made 17 and I had just made 15. Like I said, he came a week before my birthday. Isn't that something?
Mm-hmm.
A week before my birthday. God knew. Isn't that something?
So I'm gonna jump right on in and ask, what does keeping the spark alive really mean for you at this point in your relationship?
For me, oh wow. For me, it means a lot to me because most people that I know, they complain about the spark. And I try to tell the women, you know, you got to keep that spark. You got to keep that because then the man eyes going like this.
Yeah.
He looking everywhere because they want to wear something that he don't like. Now I'm not saying to lord over, nobody, but my thing is I always try to get something that I like, but I know that's gonna really prick him. You see what I'm saying? Because I
Uh-huh.
want to keep his eyes on the prize. Yeah, keep your eyes on a prize. So, like for what I have on right now, I don't put this all on me and stuff, right?
Okay.
And then I don't really care for bras, like talking about. I have a bunch of them, but I don't really care for them. But see, I keep going up and down. See, that's keeping us small. That's keeping us small. And trust me, he be paying attention to it. Then when I came in here, I was walking through the house, like switching and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All that just that elevates a relationship. It
Uh-huh.
elevates it. Love, it just elevates. That's all. Like it's just something that I just love so much. And I'm gonna let y'all tell him because he ain't nothing nice, believe me.
Oh yeah, Mr. Theo, please tell me what
Well,
does keeping the spark mean for you at this stage in the relationship?
well, it means a lot for me. I mean, it's a time of more binding together, and
Mhm.
I believe God created that. That we can get together. Me and my wife, and we can bind even more. Sex plays a part of in a marriage. In a
Mhm.
relationship. I mean, it's all kind of benefits in having sex. Relieving stress after days of
Hmm.
work. Is nothing to come home better than you know what I'm saying? Than to
Uh-huh.
have sex. I mean,
Hmm.
and it just does so much, relieve a lot of tension and pressure upon you. I mean, and that's very important, I believe, in a relationship.
Okay.
Hmm.
Y'all gonna have to hold off till the end of the show.
Look at your phone keep going upside.
So I see a lot of all right nows in the chat. That's what's up. I see it already. You guys, if you have questions for Rita and Theo, please drop it in the chat. So, what made you want to be so transparent and open and share your relationship on social media? Because a lot of times you hear, people say, "Well, I'm not sharing my relationship on social because I don't want somebody sliding in my man's DM or my woman's DM." Or like, what made you? You know how people get, Miss Rita.
You know, during the pandemic, like he was gone a lot during the pandemic. And so I would just like a recording, like my man just blowing up my phone, and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So for me, it was fun, just for me. I didn't think about any of the other stuff. And so my daughter, her friends would say, "Where your mama at? Tell your mama come back on. So we need to hear that." So I was like, nope, because he private, very. And I'm
Mhm.
like, I'm outgoing. So I was like, I ain't gonna do that song. Cause for a while he didn't even know what I was doing. I said, I ain't gonna do that song. And so my daughter said, "Well, girl, you my great inspiration." So I said, "Well, I gotta come out." She said, "Because other women need to know this." But I never knew because I was always in my world with my man. I
Yeah.
never knew so many women feel so like it intimidates them. I don't understand that. Especially women my age and being
Mhm.
married, and it's like I said, a cuss word or something. And when they send me certain things, I say whatever, because I'm gonna keep doing me. I'm gonna
Yeah.
keep doing me because this is who I really am, and I've always been like this since I got married.
Mhm.
That I just been like this. But see, the thing about it, he didn't know till I got married because I wasn't doing all them exercises then. No.
Well, and I think that's important too to mention that because there's so much talk on social media about what you should be doing while you're dating and before you get married. What do you think about that? I know you've seen all the stuff online about all that. Like this is the 50,000 rules you got to follow and do, and you need to spend this much on the first date, and then you need to do this, and all there's it's too many rules.
That's what he always say. It's too many rules. But believe it or not, I'm a very simple person. I may not look like it, but I am. I just enjoy our dates, even now, just being together, just learning to know, getting to know each other more, binding together and stuff like that. And you fall in love. I mean, you really fall in love when you can see the trueness of a person. You
Mhm.
know what I'm saying? And you can see that that person is really into you. I never told him, I never asked him for nothing. Never. And he was always generous with me. When we were dating, I never had to have my money on me or anything like that. He always paid for everything. So when we got married, it's still like that. It's even greater.
Mhm.
It's even greater.
Well, let's talk about that for a second because I brought this up on Threads the other day and got my uh, hair snatched out by the root because people were so upset. Because my simple question was, why is it these days when simply dating or you just meet somebody, people are so bold to ask for money. Like just ask, like for example, hey, I need $20, or can you give me $500? Or there's some I've seen people saying, can you co-sign on this car for me? I know we just met. Like, have y'all seen this stuff? Like, what? I don't
I
even.
haven't.
Well,
I no.
What you say? Mhm.
well, well, I think that's more like, to me, that's like a red flag for me. You know, I mean, if you
Oh yeah.
jumping out the gun begging, I mean, if a man it's simple. I mean, it's nothing complicated to me. Simple. If a man wants you, he's
Come
gonna
on, baby.
provide for you.
That part.
He's
Hello.
if I mean if he noticed this is what he want, let's take like my wife. I knew what I wanted with her
Mm-hmm.
because I knew her lifestyle. You know, we grew up in the same neighborhood. Every man he could be a devil in a sense, but he would say he want a Christian woman. He
Mm-hmm.
could be doing all kind of crazy things, but he want a woman that he could bring home, maybe to show his mom or his dad, this is my woman. Every man want that. It's like a front, you know what I mean? But at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, this is my woman,
Yeah.
okay?
Mhm.
So she should not have to beg me. If this is my woman, she should not have to beg for $1. Okay, if she was a single woman, she got her own house. Hey, you need the grass cut. I think a real man would do that. You need
Yeah.
your car wash. You know, he would do if he's into you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you shouldn't have to be begging. I mean, that's a red flag. You know, just sit back and wait and see what kind of man is here. That's gonna show you if you just sit back and wait a while and let him do what he do. Watch his moves, not what he says so much, but watch his moves. And if his moves is going toward that direction, that could be a good sign.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's not, that's a bad sign because as a woman, she should know what she want in a man. I hear him talk. Okay, if this is what you want in a man,
Mm-hmm.
let's wait and see if this is him. You
Mm-hmm.
know, he gonna jump out the gun. Maybe he might be a little slow start and all, but eventually, because he's trying to check you out to
That's
see
right.
if you
That's right.
the type
Yeah.
of woman that he's wanting.
Yep. Yep.
So it's
Yep.
gonna take a process, a while to see that. When he see that, he's gonna be all into you. He's gonna
Mm-hmm.
be calling you every moment he get, not texting. You know, I can understand if he on his job and he can't talk, but
Right.
he's gonna be calling you. I mean, that's what
Mhm.
I
Mm-hmm.
did. I called
Oh
her.
yeah.
You know, we stayed in communications. At night, we would fall asleep on the phone.
Oh, that's that
We would
90s
fall
love right
asleep.
there.
You know, I mean, that's when a man is into you. You know,
Yeah.
everywhere I would go, this woman, even though she wasn't with me, I didn't let my boys know, but she was on my mind.
Uh-huh.
She already had been captivated my heart. You see, and I believe that if he's into you, it's not a complicated thing.
Mm-hmm.
I
But this
mean,
dating
I
system
mean,
today
when
is
you know
crazy.
what you
It's
want,
crazy.
you just wait and see if this the man.
But the dating today is crazy because I know women that meet men and say, "Girl, I'm gonna see if he could pay my light bill." Or, "Girl, I'm gonna see if he could pay my cell phone." That's all you want pay? I'm like, where the intentional?
Right.
Right.
What you see what I'm saying? And I'm telling you, and then they have the men who have the audacity to say things like, "Oh man, I forgot my wallet." I would get up from the table.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all, look, I'm gonna go pay my stuff, and I'm gonna let
Mm-hmm.
them call the police on you or whatever they do.
Mm-hmm.
Simple as that.
Right.
But sometimes, the dating today is horrible.
Mm-hmm.
It,
Yes.
it really is. It's too many rules. But let me tell you something. I'm from the old school.
Right. Right.
In the school that I'm from, I didn't believe in me and him shacking because you wasn't gonna leave out my parents' house shacking. Oh no, you were gonna be
Mm-hmm.
married or you were gonna get your
Mm-hmm.
own.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is my dad made good money, so we never had to ask for anything. I
Mm-hmm.
never asked him for anything. Even being married to him now, I have to tell him I'm tired of gifts. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and that's just the way it is.
And
Yeah.
I also believe that's another one of the problems. It's the values I believe too sometimes
Mm.
that your parents had because she got some of the same values that her parents had. Now I
Mm-hmm.
came from a single parent home, but she came from a
Two
mom
parent.
in a two-parent home. She
Hmm.
had real good values. So she helped me when we had our children to help with the children. She taught me things because I came from a single parent home. She came from two.
Right.
So it helps me too with that, in that area that. So I believe that's
Hmm.
a lot to do with it too.
Well, how has your definition of intimacy changed over the years, or has it changed at all? Because some people, like you said, it was before you got married, was it just hand holding hands? How did you stay connected? Obviously, you said calling on the phone and
Mm-hmm.
going on dates, and what else? What else was it? Just talking a lot. What were y'all talking about? I'm being so nosy now. What were y'all
No,
talking about?
when look, it wasn't much. It wasn't a lot. It really wasn't. When I was dating him, I was so messed up in a sense. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like I didn't take. I was 14 and a half when we first started dating.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
we went little places because my mom, she was strict. You're not going all over the land with no man.
Do we have the
Although
same
she knew his
parents?
mother. But he brought me to the Sizzler, and he opened the door for me, just things like that. But we dated, believe it or not, a lot at my parents' home.
Right, right. Sure did.
Oh.
That's where we dated,
That's
in
right.
that home.
That's
And
right.
guess what? He got to see how I am. I got to see how he is, and all of that. But and it worked for us. It
Mm-hmm.
worked for us.
Mm-hmm.
It worked for us well. It
Mm-hmm.
really did.
Mm-hmm.
But talking, he didn't talk a lot back then. He was very, very shy, you know. And I was shy too, And but at the end of the day, he was always very kind to me.
Hmm.
He was very kind to me. And now today, oh my God, I still cry over it. It's just so beautiful to me.
Hmm.
Even people say ups and downs. I've been sick, a lot in our marriage, after I had our daughter, and I mean sick unto almost being unalive. And that was a tough time for me. I
Hmm.
ain't gonna cry, baby. That was a tough time for me. And, you know, the prayers that came from him and, our intimacy still, he still was touching me. Girl, I need to be touched. I feel like,
Now, was that when you had endometriosis? I know we talked about it before, but is
yes.
that okay?
Oh,
Okay, just so
yes.
everybody's aware. Yes.
It was trying to take me on out of here, for real.
Hmm.
Seriously, it was
Yeah.
bad. And I mean, but I still wanted to be touched. I didn't have to tell him, well, honey, touch me here and there. That kept me. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? I still wanted to be romance. You
Yeah.
know, I never, regardless of how tired we are, I never allow it to be dead. Because we'll be in the
Okay.
back, in that truck back there, in the back
That's what
seat.
I want to know. I want to know about the truck. Tell me about the truck. I've heard you mention the truck. Tell us about that truck.
But we have a huge truck, right? And so I had this finish. So I was like, you know what I always wanted to do? And he said, what? I said, I want to be in the back of the truck. Why did I say that? We was flying out here.
Is that because you dated in the house?
Look, we in our marriage, because I had never did some of the things that my friends did. You know what I'm saying? Like, girl, we
Yeah.
going no, when we got married. And so I
Hmm.
had this finish when we got married. And so we made it happen. Baby, did we fly out this house in the back of the truck? My man started that, put that key in there and had the air on, and we had a blast. He said, what if the neighbors come out? I said, we married, I don't care.
I love it.
I said, and I'm that person yet. I do not care. I don't care. If you come outside, oh well, you need to be doing something too. So go back in, do what you do. And that's just the way I so we girl look, had a blast. A blast. And I just love the back seat of the truck, I just do. Our children grown and gone and shoo, Lord have mercy. It was wonderful.
Well,
It
you
was
mentioned something. You mentioned something a second ago. I wanted to go back to before I got distracted by the truck. But the you mentioned that when you were sick and it was a
mhm,
hard time, and how Mr. Theo was there for you and praying for
Hmm.
you, and when you needed to be touched, he touched you and made you feel special and all the and so I guess the question is, because nowadays we've already established that dating is rough out here, but nowadays it seems like when someone is sick, that other person runs.
Oh
So can you
yeah.
talk a little bit about staying, through the hard times? Because I think now, I guess because the internet is such a big wide place, they can just be like, oh, I'm gonna go over here and slide in this one's DM because he or she is sick, and it's kind of it's rude and hurtful, but that's how some people are.
Truthfully, I was trying to get him somebody. I really was,
Mm,
because our kids were young. Tamika was
mhm.
like 4 when I had the first surgery. So in my mind, he didn't know though. I was trying to hook him up. I was gonna hook him up with my friend, one of my friends, a real good friend, and because I wanted him to be taken care of as well as our kids. And
Yeah.
so it was like I wanted to give up literally because I was just so tired going back and forth to the doctors and all this stuff, and hurting and being in pain. And he was like, I said, I won't go. He said, no, sweetheart, no, no, you can't give up. And I mean, literally, I just wanted to just say, if this the way it's gonna be, I gotta go. But I was still trying to get everything. The only thing I was trying to get for him was another woman, because I wanted him to be happy
Mhm.
because he took such excellent care of me.
Mhm.
So I felt like this person I know, I ain't gonna cry, baby. But this person I knew that she liked him, right? I knew she
Wait a minute,
already
Miss
had a.
Rita. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I'm sure that the chat is wondering the same thing right now. Y'all type the question if you know what I'm about to ask. You didn't want him with someone that you didn't know or someone that
No, let me tell you this. I
okay.
know him. This person who I'm talking about, educated, clean person, know how to cook. I don't know how to cook, right? But I'm an
Mhm.
orderly person. A real beautiful home and stuff. I know how to do all that. You know, she can handle business. I wasn't trying to get him somebody who did not know. You know, understand? Who
Uh-huh.
was gonna come along and mess up everything we worked together for. See, she
Uh-huh.
already had herself together. You see where
Okay.
I'm going at? So I
Yeah.
felt like, oh, I'm gonna get her. That's who I'm gonna get. I'm gonna tell her what's going on, and that's who I'm gonna get. Because I knew he was gonna need somebody like that. You be the backbone for each other. You
Mhm.
know what I'm saying? Because I
Right.
I helped him to start a successful business. We invest together. We did everything together and
Right.
still do.
Right.
So
Mhm.
I feel like I'm gonna get my man somebody just as better than I am. And I told my daughter, I said, now listen, I said my ring, I said the rest of the stuff you can have, but I said my marriage ring, one of them, I said you give it to him, so if, in case he want to give it to her, because I mean it's really nice. So I mean that's how I felt.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think I'm speechless right now. I don't I don't know what to say because it's I see what you're saying. I see your daughter said that wasn't going to happen.
And think about it like this: we were used to. Now, I got married at 19. He was 21. We was doing it like sexual 7 days a week.
Mhm.
So I knew what he was accustomed to. I said, "Oh, this girl gonna like this." So I mean, I
Yeah.
said, "Yeah, she gonna like this," because she already had a crush on him, so it was easy. It would have been easy to slide her in there.
Okay. Now,
Mhm.
has that crush since been squashed?
I I think so. I
Okay.
think so. I
Well,
think
Mr.
so.
Theo, what did you think about all this? Look, because she
Huh?
clearly didn't consult you. How did you feel about this?
Well, I wasn't really. My wife was more into it. I wasn't really into it. The main thing just seeing that she come through what she was going through, And
Yeah.
I wasn't about to forsake her. That was something she wanted, and but I was hanging in there with her, to make sure she's straight. Mhm.
Yeah.
I can't stop laughing because it's funny now. You
Yeah, I
know,
see a
just
lot of wows in the comments, but Latanya Smith says you were looking for a good woman for your man, but God had a different plan.
Right.
That is
but I
exactly
was
right.
getting them together. But you know, when someone is, let me tell you something. When someone is good to you as he is to me, that don't make him perfect because I'm
Hmm.
not perfect, but
Right.
we perfect for each other.
Right.
I wanted him with the best. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now I don't know if he would have done that for me. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like give my wife to somebody else. But I've heard people say things like women who have died, they don't want their husbands to never be married again. I
Hmm.
beg the difference.
Yeah.
Why not have a good man? I'm not here no more. If I had not been here, why
Hmm.
she can't have him? Because I knew he was going to take excellent care of her. I knew she was going to take excellent care of him. He was going to dine her, wine her, whatever, because that's who he is. And I know she deserved that. I know who she is, and
Hmm.
she would have enjoyed it to the fullest. And I wanted her to have that, and I wanted him to have that, and she would have been a good mother to my kids. So I was good.
Yeah. I don't know that. I don't know
She
that
said, yeah.
I don't know if I could have done that, but yeah. Some
Yeah.
let's see. Latanya Smith says that's a good man, more concerned about you than his own self. Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. So let's talk about what are some simple things that couples can do to stay connected emotionally and physically, whether they are married or just dating.
I believe when you're dating, a lot of things you can do, such as really get to know each other. That's one. And I'm serious about that.
Hmm.
Not on the text, on the phone.
Hmm.
And see if the person you dating lines up with what you asked God for, or what you wrote in your diary for, or what you want. Make sure pay attention to the lifestyle. Just pay attention to everything.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I'm serious when I say this.
Mm-hmm.
And be discerning. Don't be discerning. When you see something, your spirit don't feel right when you're dating, and you just keep on, don't keep on. When your spirit feel like something is wrong, you better drop it like a hot potato. I'm telling you,
Mm-hmm.
better let
Woo.
it go. Better let it go. Don't even think twice. I
Mm-hmm.
don't care how good he is. I don't care what he look like. I don't care what she look like. Just don't
Mm-hmm.
go
Yeah.
with that gut feeling
Mm-hmm.
inside of you.
Hmm.
Because let me tell you something. My mother knew before she left this earth who he was. She knew before I knew. I'm telling you the truth. And my mother wanted me to marry him. My mother wanted us together.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
I'm telling you.
Mm-hmm.
But then she had other children that she didn't want, and it turned out bad.
Mm.
My mother saw. And so I tell this to my daughter. She knows. And I tell this to young ladies, listen, don't be so quick,
Right.
to give
Right.
in to what this person want,
Right.
because marriage and relationship takes two people. Date. Make
Hmm.
sure you date. Get to know who his people is. Let him
Mm-hmm.
get to know your people if you're close with your people.
Mm-hmm.
So your
Hmm.
mama and your dad, if somebody could say, "Girl, I don't know." See, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because many
Yeah.
people want to, hide what they do because they don't want to be told. But I'm telling you how it
Hmm.
goes. And as a single woman that's dating, look, you need to run to that man's house like that.
Mm-hmm.
You go to that man's house, the may not come out. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And don't let him too
Yep.
much. Go meet him
Hmm.
until it's an intentional thing. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Right.
That
Yeah.
you know that God told you this is the one,
Right.
if that's
Hmm.
what you want.
Right.
If
Mm-hmm.
and look, just hold hands, go to the library, just do wonderful things. Do
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
things that's gonna build if
Mm-hmm.
you're intentional about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I love this because I think one of the things I see on social media sometimes is people complaining about I don't want to spend money. There's free things you can do. Like you just said, go to the library, go there's some
Yeah.
museums you can go for free. You can get some ice cream. Well, you will take a popsicle from your house. But there's great things you can do. It's just people just don't think of that. And I just saw a comment that I wanted to read. Regina McMillan said the problem is no one knows what they want because they're stuck on what they see on reality shows
Yeah.
and
That's
thinks that's
right.
how marriages and relationships are supposed to go.
Right.
I
Well,
also think too that you know what I find the problem is. The problem is you think some people think they know what they want.
right.
Hmm.
What you was gonna say, baby?
Good. Good.
They think they know what they want. They look at the wrong things, just like she was saying.
Right. Mm.
But
Yeah.
then some people also, and let me say this because this is so true. Some women, because of all the trauma in their lives, and men too, and when they do meet the person for them, they scared.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're scared, and this I'm telling y'all, and this be the person for them. We have
Mm-hmm.
seen it so much,
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
and when they talk to me, and I say, "Girl, you," I say, "Girl, you had better not let this man go," because I could see it.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
could see it, and that's what happens. People try to emulate other people's lives. See, I tell people all the time, I've been married 44 blessed years. I had 44 years to act crazy, get it together, act crazy. He patient.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Not that you're trying to act crazy, but that's all the learning.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So when you start seeing relationship, excuse me, y'all, when you in a relationship and you start seeing all kind of different personalities,
Right.
keep going. I'm telling y'all, keep
Mm-hmm.
going, keep going.
Well, Mr. Theo, when that crazy is coming out, what role does forgiveness play in being connected long term?
Oh well, that I would put that on one of the top right there.
Okay.
You got to be a person that be able. We're not perfect, but the beautiful thing when we do make a mistake, she don't agree with something I agree with, that we come together and
Hmm.
say, "Well, I'm sorry,"
That part
and
Hmm.
that'll wipe everything away right there.
with
Just
him.
just that word, "I'm sorry."
Hmm.
Now, if
Yeah.
a person tell you they sorry,
You can't
you
hold it against
what
them.
you gonna you can't do nothing but okay. Well, we move on now.
Hmm.
It's just simple as that. I mean, somebody have to be humble enough to admit they're not right. And I think once we get that going, we can move on to the next level.
But sometimes it's like, for me, that was hard for me. It really was.
Hmm.
And he'll say, "Sweetheart, you don't want to talk about it." Sweetheart be the one walked in the bag.
Sweetheart going to
Because
sit in the
see,
truck by herself.
it's where I came from.
Yeah.
But see, you learn from each other.
Right,
Hmm.
right.
So when he says, "Sweetheart, we should talk about it," at that time, it seemed like I didn't have sense enough to do that.
Hmm.
Seriously. And so that's when the maturity, see, and the love, got to have
Yeah.
that love.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next thing you know, after we get it all together, see, but you don't let the spice go out.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
You still don't let it go out. You still hold hands. "I'm sorry, baby." You
Mm-hmm.
hold these hands. "I'm sorry, baby."
Right,
I didn't
Yeah.
see it like that, but I'm so glad you walked me through it
right,
because I was in
Hmm.
the back.
right.
Because I hate to fail. That's my problem. Like, I hate to fail at anything. And if I know that I failed at something, oh, it's like it's not a good feeling for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When it came to being a mother, oh, I'm top gun. Still
Hmm.
is.
Right.
Grandmother
Hmm.
too. But being a wife, I had to learn.
Yeah.
But he made it easy for me.
Right.
Because had he not, I don't, girl, let me tell you, with God and this man, I don't know where I would be. I had to learn because it was what I came from,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know. So I had to learn to. I had to learn. I had to learn.
Hmm. Yeah, and I want to remind everybody we got a few more minutes. So if you have any questions, please drop it in the chat. I do see a couple comments. Mary Sales says trauma taught us to flee. That is very true. Trauma does
Mm.
teach us.
Mm-hmm.
We have
Mm-hmm.
to unlearn those things that trauma taught us.
Right.
Latanya Smith says forgiveness is everything, but it isn't forgiveness if you don't let it go and you're still holding on to
Right.
it.
That's true.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
Wow, that's a good
Mm-hmm.
one.
Yeah.
That is.
So, what advice would you give? Well, you mentioned you got to keep the spice. So, what advice would you give couples who feel like they're in this rut? and they want to reignite that spark and connection. What can they do? And if they don't have a truck outside to go to, what can they do in the house or a spontaneous date? What can they do?
That's what I would say. What you would say, babe?
Well, I would say it's spontaneous dates, but I think a lot of that got to do with the man in your life too,
Mm-hmm.
because he should see that. I mean, it's like when you first start dating, you did all those beautiful things, open the door for her,
Gotta go
kiss
to.
her, call her. These things got to continue,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes they have to increase. You got to step it up another notch, But we forget, the simple things that got the woman.
Hmm.
We got to continue that.
Put a wig on.
Keep opening the door for her.
Hmm.
Maybe bring her to the mall. Women like to go to the mall.
Love it.
You know, sometimes women could be stressed. And not like my wife. I like to get her out. Release some of that tension and stress. All that prepare you for intimacy.
Yes, it
Mm-hmm.
does.
It prepares you. If you bring your wife to the mall, okay, you wonder why she a snob, she complaining.
Hmm.
You don't never take her shopping. You don't spend time with her at the mall. Just take her sometime. Just let her shop. Go in the lingerie
Oh,
store or something
please
like
do.
that. Show her what you like. Because sometimes women don't always know what you like. A man have to. This what I like. You like this one? Sometimes my wife will say, "You like these pair of panties?" No,
Mm-hmm.
that pair right there.
Hmm.
No.
So all these things can help continue to ignite the fire in your marriage.
And you know what else? Games. I like jacks. I like to play jacks.
Mm.
We do
Oh,
this
I didn't
game
know where we
called.
was going. I didn't know where we was going. Okay. Okay. That threw me off. I'm sorry, Miss Rita.
And then we do this game we call Rate Your Mate. I love
Okay.
that too. Like, see me, I go put on a wig. At first I look where he at. You gotta keep it like that. I like to keep them
Uh-huh.
surprised. I would put me on a wig and put me on something cute and just start walking around. You know what I'm saying? It's on
Mm-hmm.
his mind. Gonna cut the
Mhm.
TV off and set everything and come in the bed. Because let me tell you, this the hurting part for me. When a woman say her husband don't want to touch her. That hurts me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, girl, why he acting like that? So she'll tell me, I say, girl, I see why he acting like that. Now you got to do better.
Mhm.
You're gonna have to fix yourself up.
Right,
And then
Mm-hmm.
I tell the man, I say, now you gonna have to do better.
right.
I say, you gonna put them pawpaw paint drawers up and get something that gonna sparkle.
Hmm.
Cause this when see when we would go shopping for lingerie, I get
Mm-hmm.
my stuff, he get his, and we meet each other at nighttime. And Lord have mercy.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him, I said, but y'all old. I said, baby, nothing get old but you if that's what you want.
Yeah.
Baby, don't let the gray hair fool you, okay? Please don't let it fool you. Don't let our ages fool you. I am 63 blessed years old, and this man is 65. He don't eat meat. We
Mm-hmm.
take our sea moss gel, and baby, we be rolling on the river. What? Rolling on the river, but we keep it spicy. I'm gonna
Yeah.
keep you laying in the bed holding hands. This man will wake up through the night holding on to my. I was like, oh, even, but I'm serious. I always come to bed looking like lavish.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
got to keep that chase.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
You got to keep when you dated, you had that chase.
But I didn't do that then.
You know,
Not in dating. Oh
yeah,
no.
you got to
Yeah.
keep that chase. And I believe
Yeah.
that's very important.
Yeah.
Those little things that you did that have to continue.
I
Take
see
a
a
walk and hold
question. I
hands.
see a question for you guys. Going back to when Mr. Theo was talking about take your woman to the mall. I think this is what this is referring to. But Regina McMillan says, going back to money, what can you do if you have no money?
Ooh, I got the perfect solution. You date inside your house.
Hmm.
That's what we did a lot inside of our home, in our
Mm-hmm.
bedroom. Know why? Our kids was in private school. Okay, we made a choice. send our kids to private school. They wore the best of this, the best. That's the way it was. We
Right.
invested.
Right.
We
Yeah.
invested for their future. We made some investments,
And
and
then
we did it in their bedroom.
it's not all about, I know they say money, but a lot of time me and my wife go out, you know, mostly every week we going somewhere. I might not eat that much, but I let her get what she want to get, or
Oh,
sometimes we'll split the meal.
but
It's just a
sometimes we
matter
don't
of
like that.
spending that intimate time together.
Mm-hmm.
Just being out
Mm-hmm.
talking with each other. So it's you got to learn how to budget too. Make the best out of what you have.
Mhm.
I might not have a yacht, but hey, I could take it
We got a boat
on
though.
a little boat ride
We
somewhere.
got a big
I
boat.
mean, I ain't got no
I don't
yacht
want to
like
go on the
these Hollywood people got. I mean, but hey, I got a little yacht, my little boat. You just got to make the best of where you at
That's
Yeah.
until
right.
you get there.
Until you get there.
And then, you know what I mean?
That's
You
right.
got to be faithful, like the Bible said, with the little thing. Take
Hmm.
Mm.
what you got
And use it.
and use that.
That's right.
And that can mean a lot. It's not always about the money. A lot of times. I know for me and
Mhm.
my wife, I mean, it's just being together, being happy.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about. You continue to build that intimate time, build that relationship, and that's what keeps y'all going.
He brings me chocolate pretzels, dark chocolate pretzels from Whole Foods. Baby, I'll be so happy. That's a date.
I know what you're talking about. Those are good.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a date, and they don't cost much.
Mhm.
So it's a
But
date.
it's just a matter of coming together. I mean, if you got in a doll relationship, a doll marriage, you got to kind of do things different. I
Yeah,
mean,
do some different things.
change it up a little bit.
Hmm.
I mean, as a woman, I mean, you can't come to bed with these big old panties on. I mean, we call them warfare clothes. I mean, you, I mean, you got gym shorts on, coming to bed. I mean, how you expect something to ignite?
Nothing ain't gonna
You know,
ignite. Because
you
by
know.
the
I
time
mean,
they take off them war clothes, I'm going to sleep. I'm
yeah,
not doing all that.
you got to come to bed, present yourself in a manner that entice the man, to want to come towards you.
But see, that worked two ways.
Right,
Cause see,
right.
this
Yep.
man is fine, like
Mhm.
I said, and he be, oh Lord, he be ready for me. And so, oh,
So that's y'all taking notes in the chat. Go to bed looking nice.
Right, that's right, that's
Leaving
right.
them nightgowns with them holes in
oh, that's
it. So, oh, I hate that we're almost out of time. So you guys are going to have to come back. But I did want to ask this. I have two more questions for you. So the first one is, what boundaries do you put in place to protect your relationship from outside stress and people and their opinions, especially social media? Now, how do you protect that your relationship so that none of those comments and people's 2 cents seep into what you two have built?
I don't let people define who I am. Simple as that.
That's
I
that
don't let
part.
people
Okay.
define who. I don't care what they say. I don't let people define who I am. What do you do? You, he's like me. He said, I don't care.
We don't too much worry about people's opinion too much.
Not at
Yeah.
all.
Mhm.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. So, well, I asked this question of all my guests. What feeds your soul? What makes you happy?
What makes me really happy is that first my relationship with the Lord, because
Mhm.
that's what got me where I'm at right now.
Right,
Mhm.
right.
It makes me happy that we could read our Bible together and we can pray together. That
Mhm.
makes me very
Hmm.
happy, because that's the way we started off. And I always tell him that's the way we're going to finish. That's where I
Right,
find my joy at.
right.
Mhm.
My joy is us being together, having our children and our grandchildren. It's just a joy because our circle is about this small, you know.
Mhm.
And that I feed off of that because I'm
Mhm.
still a mother, although
Yeah.
my
Mhm.
our kids are adults. Oh, but trust me, I'm still a mother. I'm still involved with them. I'm
Hmm.
Mhm.
involved with my grandkids when I can see them.
Mhm.
One I see all the time, and I that like Father's Day, that was everything to me.
Hmm.
It surprising him. Our kids was there, one of our
Mhm.
Yeah.
grandsons, And it just was a beautiful thing. I feed off of that because that's something that we help to build together.
Right. Right.
We help
Yeah.
to build this
Right.
family
Right.
together. So
Mhm.
all of this, it's just so glorious to me.
Mhm.
And I
Mhm.
wouldn't trade it for nothing in the world.
Mhm.
Yeah. How about you, Mr. Theo? What makes you happy? What feeds your soul?
Well, it's the same thing. We started off. We She found the Lord first, and I found him right after him,
Me.
and that would help build our relationship.
Yeah.
We went to church together. We prayed together a lot of time. We cried.
Together.
Together.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the most important thing right there. I
Mm-hmm.
believe without that, the Bible says, unless the Lord build the house, they labor in vain. And,
Amen.
and and that's what I believe our relationship is built on, is the Lord. I mean, though we talk about sexual things, people act like that's a sin. That's something God created.
Mm-hmm.
Long as it's between you and your wife. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, we have fun. It's made to enjoy. I mean, we enjoy it. I mean, everything He created it. So hey, we enjoy it. And we feed off each other.
All the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I lied. One more question. Any final words for the singles out there?
All
Well,
my single ladies.
I would say for the single ladies, I think sometimes that the whole foundation is messed up. We got to get back to the foundation.
Hmm.
And I believe one of the foundation, we old school. You got to realize. I believe one of the main foundation, they didn't turn it around. Let the man pursue you. You know, um, Many times women are pursuing the man. Like I see sometimes women propose to men. It's backwards. That's the most warped thing I ever seen. I mean, that's something. Let a man do that.
Hmm.
That's a man's job.
Mhm.
Women taking the places of men's job. His job is to pursue you. And I believe the women have took that away and they pursuing the man.
Yeah.
But I believe in time, if you be patient,
Mhm.
if this is the man for you, he's gonna pursue you. I
Hmm.
believe that strongly.
Mhm.
If you let this man, it takes time. It's a process. See, nothing's gonna happen overnight. It's a process. And if this is the one for you, I read a statistic that it takes a man about 6 months to figure out this is what he wants. Don't take 20 years. It takes
Nope.
about 6 months to capture that man. And if
Hmm.
this is what he wants, it's over with.
Hmm.
You that's it.
Well,
Oh,
you done
thank you
said a
for that.
lot to it.
Yeah. You done preached
That's
the
it.
whole sermon.
Yeah, that's it.
You
Yes.
know, but I tell women today to be on your post and say, see, when I say be on your post, you
Hmm.
might not see what I'm saying right now. To be on your post is to be praying. Get your money up. Do things like I hang out with my daughter all the time.
Hmm.
Baby, let me tell you something. This little girl, she be gone. Beauty this, spa this, the hair, everything. Do you.
Yeah.
Do you and keep yourself adorned.
Right, right,
Hmm.
When
right.
I go by her house, I tell you she have a bathroom with
Mm-hmm.
everything. But she keeps herself so radiant.
Mm-hmm.
And everywhere we go, men constantly looking, they after her and stuff. And I be saying, girl, is that all right there? But anyway, just joking with it and stuff. But men watch that,
Right,
you
right.
know, and you put that perfume on, they follow you, the good
Mm-hmm.
ones.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
But keep yourself and be authentic. Be who you really are. Don't try to be who your friend is and someone else. Be who you are so he can know you. And that's important. That's very
Mm-hmm.
important to be yourself and keep your money up and keep your business to yourself.
That part. That part. That part. I want to thank you both for coming on Celebration, letting us get all in your business, and for you giving us both of you dropped a lot of gems, and I have seen so many amens, yes, and all those things in the comments. So we have been loving you guys being here. Tell everybody where we can find you on social media.
Bad Girl Review 504 on Instagram is bad underscore girl. underscore Riri 504. Facebook Rita Smith. Twitter Rita Smith. Bad Girl Riri 504. What else I got out here? I'm trying to think all these things.
LinkedIn.
I'm trying to think. Look. TikTok Bad Girl Riri 504. And look, don't forget about our ebook. Love Can't Wait.
Hmm.
Bookbaby.com, www.bookbaby.com. And if y'all want to get into that lingerie, woo, come see kittywigglecollection.com.
I know that's right. Plug, plug, plug.
And then watch us on our podcast. We have Kitty Wiggle Collection podcast. He and I, and then sometime me and my daughter. But let me tell you, that's when y'all listen to our podcast, y'all gonna know this us.
Okay, I
Y'all
can't
gonna,
wait. I can't wait.
yeah. So I'm just grateful. That's where we
Yeah.
are.
Thank you both so much, and thank you guys in the chat for joining the conversation. I'm loving the stories about how their husbands knew. You'll have to go back and check those comments because there's some amazing ones. For more information about relationships and things we've talked about, trauma, relationships, forgiveness, all those things, and just relationships in general, you can head over to blackdoctor.org. There's articles and resources there. But coming up on Celebration, y'all, and it's interesting the way I've stacked these shows. But coming up, have you ever grieved the life that you thought you'd have? I can't be the only one. You know, whether it's the love, the career, the family, the peace, the finances, and it just didn't go the way that you dreamed in your head or in your journal. It didn't go that way. So next week on Celebration, we're going to hold space for that silent sorrow that comes with that, with those unmet expectations. I'm going to have a trauma therapist here. She's going to talk about grieving the life you wanted and how to make peace with the one that you have, how to find that gratitude because you still here. So you got to celebrate and love where you are. So we're also going to let you have room for hope because we're not going to let you give up on those dreams. So join me back here Wednesday at 7 o'clock and have a soul filled rest of the week. Thank you, Rita and Theo. Thank you
Thank
again.
you.
Thank you for
Thank
having
Have
you.
a
us.
good night, everybody.